Hey there guys, it's Metro. Today we are taking a look at Neltharion's Lair from the perspective of a Brewmaster tank alongside an Enhancement, Shaman, and 2 Fire Mages. The goal of these videos is going to be to kind of get a sense of where specs are at currently on the beta, get a sense of how the tank and DPS meta is going to associate with the dungeon itself, and how the pulls will look when you're trying to play the game a little bit more straightforward. So this is a great start here to the dungeon. Right out of the gate, you see me just showing you what a Brewmaster can do. If you guys haven't been following along here, Brewmaster looks like the top tier tank with almost no question. Its mitigation is really ridiculous, and the damage it can do is absolutely absurd, as you can see here. So in my opinion, based on what you've seen, what I've seen, what other people have seen, I think Brewmaster is just unequivocally the best tank in the game currently. The big thing about it is Keg Smash does about like 50 to 60% of your damage. I wouldn't expect that to stay like that. I would definitely expect to see Keg Smash nerfed, but the actual mitigation model is really strong. So as you see there, top DPS. Now I'm making an assumption here that all of us are in about the same gear. I'm currently like 813, which is actually quite low. I would expect these people to be even higher than that, which, who knows if they are. I can't say for sure. I didn't get a chance to like inspect all of them. I don't know if it's even possible, but the point is that, yeah, we're all about similar gear. This is on the beta, so nobody's like crazy like raid geared or nothing like that. And yeah, you're gonna just see how good the tank spec actually can be. Now, Enhance is nothing to sneeze at either. If you're asking me, I'm saying Enhance is the best spec in the video game currently. That it's a damage dealing spec. There are a few. Hopefully, we'll get a good array of classes in these videos. I want to make as many as possible. This is a really engaging content topic for me, so hopefully you guys will agree and find the same. Now you'll see we still have that buff up there. I don't know if that's gonna. I guess that's staying in the game. I don't feel like that's needed anymore, especially because, as you're gonna see here, the boss itself is actually very short. All the bosses are indeed, but we will get to at least see a little bit, about 45 seconds to a minute of how the damage spread is gonna look in terms of DPS and the tank too. Single target, these two guys are Fire Mages, like I said. They're from the same guild, so it's really difficult to get like an unbiased read on both of them. They may be both, of the same mindset, not trying different things, but the actual DPS that the Mage is doing is not exceptional, I would say. Without lust and stuff, at least in the end, they start doing a little bit better. But as you see there, Enhance is just, yeah, it's just really strong, really bursty. They're kind of back to how they were in MOP, I would say, a little bit there with the burst at least. There are some specs that are, of course, more bursty, but, Enhance, basically anything that's doing more damage than me, I'm saying is strong right now, or at least is being played properly, because Monk just seems a bit imbalanced, as you'll see. I would encourage you guys to pause if you see me hover over the spreads on Skada, right, which you'll see here in a second. But yeah, it's going to be difficult to actually talk about this live. I'm just trying to show it off, show you guys, give my opinions on it, especially in the dungeon pulls. But so there's that, right, which it's kind of interesting to see, because another class is basically a massive amount of their damage is a single spell. But the mages as well, it's just all ignite there. I'm not really sure how the spec plays, but it's just not doing crazy damage. You'd expect to see, when you see 30% on the top of a chart there for damage spread, you expect the class to be either strong or weak, and I would say they are weak. That doesn't mean they're bad. Obviously, it's still beta. There's plenty of time for this, but right now, Brewmaster is pretty nuts. So here's a really indicative pack. We're going to try to grab everything together. I must say it is difficult without grips. You get so used to AoE grips that it's kind of difficult to maximize without one. But these mobs all jump around a bit, so I guess this is kind of a more realistic pull for most classes. You're not going to have 10 mobs stacked up all at once. Sometimes they're going to stagger out a little bit, kind of jump away, kind of prevent you from damaging them. But as you see, Brewmaster still on top, and it's all Keg Smash. It really is almost 100% Keg Smash. As you'll see when I look at the spreads a bit, Keg Smash really about 50. It depends on the pull, obviously. 40 to 60% of the damage you do just kind of does just way too much damage. I guess it's also removed by haste, the CD, so you can use a lot of Keg Smashes the more haste you get. I'd imagine this is going to get out of control, so I would definitely say that the class is just simply in a state of brokenness. It's too strong compared to other tanks that I've seen and does way too much damage. Maybe the tanking part is intentional at least, but the damage part seems a bit unfair if you ask me. But yeah, Enhance as there, as seen there, it can be very good. I would definitely stand by my decision that Enhance is, without question, the best DPS spec in the game. It may not be when live happens. I mean, things may change, of course. You never know. But currently, Hunter and Enhance, BM and Enhance, which were, what a surprise, very good in challenge modes in WoD, are very, very good. They have extremely good kits for dungeons. Enhance still has the stun and all the AoE spread, and their AoE kind of revolves around this cleave situation here. I guess it's more like a warrior, more like an arms warrior than it's ever been like Enhance. But I mean, I guess once you get used to that, you'll realize that topping the charts is a bit more important to you than actual playstyle, keeping the playstyle the exact same. This is a pretty interesting pull. This is another one that kind of like I go out of my way to make happen. You pull both sides here. I think typical logic would say that let's just play it safe, but I'm trying to play the game at a level that is a little bit progressive. I'm not a world first dungeoneer or something, but I definitely enjoy pushing the tank spec to the max. And as you see here, this is a very dangerous pull for the damage dealers. The healer actually dies, which everybody's taking tons of damage. I assume it's just these avalanche things. I don't actually know the mechanics, to be honest, of the trash. It's just trash. You just cleave it and stun it as hard as you can. But as you see, Enhance doing very well there. Mage doing very poorly. I don't really know what to say about that with a pack like that. I assume maybe they were kind of struggling to hit them all, or maybe they were taking a lot of damage, so they were a bit more survivability. But in general, I would say that that's a very good representation of what I kind of expect from dungeons this expansion, what I expect from classes this expansion. Now don't forget, guys, this is only heroic. Heroic is basically the LFR of dungeons, but it's the easiest thing I can get groups to record for. I'd love to do mythics, and I hopefully will be doing it in the future, but pulling like this in a heroic is kind of what you expect anyway. And like I said, even though I'm only about one item level higher than the actual requirements for this queue, I'm still topping the charts and being able to survive almost 95% of the dungeon at this rate. Now there is a little interesting thing here that happens. I can't actually it's not very discernible what even kills me, but I do die. All right, as you see here though, with this class, it's so unbelievably strong. The amount you stagger, and then you can cleanse half of that damage that you do stagger. It's just things are a little bit broken right now. Now that little totem there, I guess, is what ultimately does me in. It's kind of doing this like AoE cloud, and I'm stood in it. I even have a debuff for it, so that's kind of short-sighted on my part. I wasn't paying attention, but it does show you that you can die, and there I'm examining how I ended up dying. So the dungeons, even as heroic, they do some damage. We are under geared. I have like 2 million some health. I don't know what the average is going to be once we're geared through heroics. I see a lot of people saying 825 is an item level they're reaching pretty easily. I'm about I think 813 at this time. I can't remember even, but yeah, I have less gear than I think most people would. 825 seems like it's the item level that drops from the gear here. So I'd say like 830 is kind of like ready to be done with these. I'm not 100% sure what mythic looks like. I think it's 840, but let's talk about this boss now. So here you got another good example. One mage just AFK, not even doing damage right now. So it's really difficult to say what we're seeing here, but we are definitely seeing the Enhance who is ready to play the game. I can't say this enough, man. I'd love to see more of Enhance start to finish, because the spec looks really fun. I don't know how like the buffing, the self-group buffing thing is happening. I don't know anything about that right now. It doesn't seem obvious to me either. Maybe maybe it is happening somewhere, but all I know is that the spec itself has an incredible burst potential, and they do really stable damage, like start to finish. So I wouldn't expect to see a nerf per se, but I would expect to see maybe a redistribution of their damage. It does seem like you can't really be both bursty and insane AoE. Like back in Mob, Enhancement was extremely high burst, and Elliot was extremely high AoE. So there was that good trade-off there. But if this is the case, then I fear for Ellie once again. Just always seems to get the shaft when Enhances in this state, and this has been now 2 expansions straight, potentially a third where Enhance just is really good single target. Now here's a good pull here. We're going to pull once again 2 packs. These guys all kind of do their own thing. A couple casters, a couple like random magic damage. But once again, the group is going to take a lot of damage. I think the healer dies here as well. Yeah, as you see, he's just getting pelted by something. It's hard to even tell. It's hard to even care, to be fair. It's hard to even tell what's happening because I'm, kind of carrying the group. Another mage, AFK in his like order hall, probably changing talents, I guess is fair. But yeah, it's not very taken serious. But either way, we are looking at the the potential of the specs. I would say now I've seen a lot of Arcane. I hope that I'll be able to get a good comparison for that for you guys. As you see, Fire is just kind of I don't know. It's not very good AOE. At first, I thought Fire was going to be crazy AOE. All their spells seem to indicate something like that, but they don't seem to get it. And I'm not sure if it's the player. Of course, you can't say for sure. But it just looks like there's a very distinct decline in the Fire Mage AoE potential. I'd assume a lot of it comes from gear, just like a lot of classes. But now this is a really great pull here as a Brewmaster. A lot of extra adds that kind of just die in 2 hits, so you're in no real danger. But you get the keg smash, toss that cow. You just toss that keg right there like that. You see that? Very nice. I love the playstyle, honestly. Demon Hunter and Brewmaster are extremely fun to play. Brewmaster seems a bit overpowered, especially because of the damage they're able to put out, but it's just kind of reinvigorated my interest in tanking. I've always loved tanking, but it always kind of felt like some tank specs were just inferior to others or too gear dependent. But as of right now, I'm having a lot of success with both of these tanking specs, so hopefully that'll continue to be the case. Now, like I said, it's more about the damage that I find them to be overpowered, but the mitigation model for both of those tanks is actually really engaging. It's very active. Brewmaster is a much less active style, but it has a lot of high skill ceiling. I tried to combine the words there. That's not good. But yeah, it has a very high skill ceiling, I would say, because the availability of your active is basically like every 4 seconds. You can use it very, very often. It's not as impactful as the Demon Hunter one, but you can use it much more often. And then like it's kind of like twofold important because you'll use it and then cleanse, potentially, as you see there, a red bar of stagger. So very useful. Once you get used to that, it's not too hard to get in the mindset of using it regularly. And then there's a great talent synergy there where you can have a 4th stack and the CD is even shorter. So very, very active playstyle for monks, but very, very sturdy. A lot more sturdy than Demon Hunter and Monk in the past. But now I think Demon Hunters kind of take it on that role where they are very paper, but they do a great amount of reduction when active. That damage there, pretty indicative. Once again, we haven't really seen much change here, unfortunately. Mages are just kind of not able to play the game at the same level as perhaps Enhance. I would have loved to see more like classes or even Arcane, because I've heard really good things about Arcane. Now I left this in here because I'm not really sure how this even happens, but we do end up aggroing a second pack. Now you see the second pack kind of off to the side there. Maybe I just get too close to them. I suppose that's the case. But here's a great example of the limits. We've reached the limit here. I simply can't do this. There's a lot of damage happening to the group. This pack down here is especially brutal. They all do this like avalanche type thing. A lot of damage to everyone around. And it kind of just, yeah, it consumes us a bit too heavily. I try rolling away, but that's a great part about Monk. You can kind of use the roll as another external, but another CD in general. But not this time. Not this time. So that's kind of the limit of the 813 Monk that we reached right there. Those mobs are just a bit too heavy there. 2 pulls at a time, about 4 to 6 mobs is kind of really safe, unless they're, kind of smaller non-elites. But here's the last boss, so we'll take a good look at the damage here. The boss times are so slow that I think this is pretty indicative of where the classes are. As you see there, I just get off to an amazing burst pull. Like, I don't know, it's just really weird how much Keg Smash does. So the more you use it, the more damage you do, long story short. And a little bit of cleave there doesn't hurt, but yeah, Enhance, one mage simply maybe just isn't as geared or didn't get opener. I don't know what the difference is between the two of them. They kind of even out here. Maybe it's a talent distribution, I can't really say. I wish I could have a lot more time to analyze this, but this is kind of just my first opinions, as you know. And yeah, Fire Mage seems middle of the pack. I'm going to say Enhance seems top tier for DPS. I've seen a lot of Enhance, and I'm really, really impressed with it, and a few other specs as well. But as of right now, Brewmaster is really, really strong. Like I said, it honestly feels too strong to me. But hey, you can't really fault him. It's still alpha or beta or whatever. And yeah, we get the Warforged piece there. Or I guess it's not Warforged. Maybe it is, yeah. I don't know, but either way. Thanks for watching. 2 Fire Mages, Enhance very strong. Fire Mages, middle of the pack. Brewmaster overpowered. Alright, see you guys in the next one.